Good morning. My name is Andrew, and this is my latest solar install project. It is a 2020 Airstream Interstate 24GT. As you can tell, it is a Class B motorhome. With all RVs, and especially these Class Bs, space is always a premium. So where do we put the stuff? We've got inverters, we've got batteries, we've got DC distribution. There's a whole bunch of stuff, including the wiring. The wiring takes up space. So it's where do I put this equipment? Well, after pulling out all of the old stuff that wasn't needed any longer, I was able to find just enough space for the equipment that I needed to put in there. So let's get in there. Let me give you a tour of what got installed and where it also was installed. Let's go on ahead and let's get inside, and I'll show you what got installed in the inside of this RV. All right, so as we walk into this RV, we're going to head to the back where the sofas are that recline into the bed. And there has this GT model has these two, I guess, side seats, one on this side and one on this side. That's what that cushion there is for. And underneath this seat here is where the old inverter was. It is also the electrical cabinet, or where the breaker panel box is for the RV. As you can see, the old inverter was removed, which left a space big enough for me to install the Lynx distributor, which is the DC distribution side of it. We've also got the Victron Smart Shunt, which is keeping track of our state of charge. If you want to think of that in easy terms, think of that as a gas gauge, so you know how full your lithium batteries are. And then we also have the Victron Solar Charge Controller for the incoming solar power. And then we have the Servo GX, which is the brains of the operation. So all of the Victron stuff is connected to it. And then you can see the remote monitoring on the website as long as the system is connected to the internet. And if I pan up here above the TV we have the factory Firefly display. And then right next to it is where I put the Victron one. So they can see the status of their system and control their system right from here. Easy access location, very convenient location to see what's going on with the system. All right, so now as we head out of the RV, let's go to the back of it and let me show you where the Multiplus-II got installed. It's not a small unit. It needs a little bit of space and needs a little bit of a footprint, but I really like where I was able to place it because it took as little as possible out of my client's storage here in the back. Come, let me show you what it looks like. All right, so coming to the back of this RV, you can see we got the back side of the sofa, and there's this really nice, large, deep storage space here. So, especially in Class Bs, space is a premium. So my goal was to take as little of space away as possible. So I ended up putting the Multiplus-II here. Why did I put it here? Well, right behind it is the water heater. And Airstream has a nice dividing wall to separate the cargo space from the water heater. So I was able to strengthen that wall to make it strong enough to handle the Multiplus-II, and then it only took minimal space away from my client. I was able to leave this nice, large, deep space here for them. All right, so if we then zoom in on this corner here, you can see we have our battery disconnect, and we also have our solar disconnect. I like to put these disconnects in an easy to access location. If you were to ever need to shut the system off or do maintenance on the panels, the disconnects are easy to access to be able to shut things down quickly. So on the back side of, or on the bottom side, or what's supposed to be the bottom side of this Multiplus-II, I installed my external fan kit. Why do we need an external fan kit on a unit like this? Well, when you're mounting it in a horizontal, not vertical location as it's designed, the designed airflow is hindered. And so my external fan kit will kick on when the internal fan kicks on. It will aid in airflow through the unit and just kind of help it keep it cooler and keep it within those optimal operating temperatures, because the moment they start getting hot, they start derating their output. So just, you know, overall longevity of the unit, performance of the unit, airflow is key, and so that just kind of helps with it. If you're looking at getting one, you can order one on my website, faithfuljourneysolar.com. And then now let me show you on the other side what also was installed. All right, so on this side, you can see I installed this little white box here. What is this? That is a auto gen start. Again, it's another product that I sell on my website. And people ask me, well, why do I need an auto gen start when I already have an auto gen start that came from the factory on my RV? The answer to that is a lot of these auto gen starts that are coming on RVs are not designed to work with lithium batteries. So lithium batteries, they like to hold their voltage constant almost to the end, and then they drop off. Whereas lead acids or AGMs, the voltage kind of drops over time. So you can go based off of the battery voltage of when to, hey, you need to start it. So with lithiums, we're using a smart shunt, as I showed you inside, and that's kind of our gas gauge of what's the state of charge of my batteries, not going off of voltage, but keeping track of the electrons going in and out of the battery bank. So this auto gen start interfaces with the onboard generator of the RV and the Victron system. It's basically doing a translation and turning the signal that the generator is expecting, turning the signal from, what it does is it turns the signal from the Victron inverters into a signal that the generator is expecting. It's really nice. It's very simple, very easy to use. And if you ever need to adjust the timing of it, it's very easy to do inside of the box here. And so as long as the Victron system is connected to the internet, the nice thing about it is you can auto gen start it from anywhere in the world. So if I bring up the RV, I'm just going to manually go ahead and start it from my phone here. So you'll see the lights will click on. It's going through its start sequence here. And it's doing a prime right now, and then eventually it will try to start it here. And now the generator is running. How cool is that? That you can add that functionality to basically any RV that has an onboard generator. As long as you have the Victron system, you can install my auto gen start box. And then likewise, you can go ahead and stop it. So there, I just did a manual start and I did a manual stop, but you can program the system to auto start it based off state of charge, based off inverter load. You can tell it to periodically exercise your generator, so it keeps that generator in a ready to run state. So when you need it, it's there and it's working. Sometimes people don't use their generators often. They're loud, they're noisy, and so they sit for months at a time, and that's just not good for the generators. So that's kind of cool. You can automate that, don't have to think about it. All right, so one of the last parts of the system I haven't showed you yet is the lithium batteries. So if anyone knows these Class B motorhomes, is they typically put the batteries on the bottom side, behind the axles, outside, and that's the stock location that we use for these lithium batteries. I installed 4 Epoch Essential 100 amp hour batteries, and the reason for those is because they're basically the same size as the AGMs that I pulled out. I contacted Epoch. I said, hey, is it okay to put these batteries on the outside of the RV where they are going to get wet sometimes, where they are going to get dusty? And they said, yes, they're IP54 rated, so they're designed for those kind of applications. So this is where the batteries are now located. This is what they look like. I had to, again, they're connected in parallel to each other. So he's got a total of 400 amp hours of battery, which is a big step up from what he had, because the AGMs, they were 80 amp hours each. With AGMs, is there's about a 50% usable capacity. So he had, like, I think it was 160 amp hours that were actually usable in his battery. So if you do the math, he went from 160 amp hours to now 400 amp hours. So more than double what they had before. Now, if he wants to go add additional battery capacity down the road, we're going to have to look at taking up some of that space on the inside of the RV to do larger batteries, bigger battery banks, but that's not what they wanted to do at this time, and I think this 400 amp hours is going to work well for them. So that wraps up the install that I did on this 2020 Airstream Interstate 24GT. Nice small little Class B motorhome. Now, I didn't talk about the solar panels up on the roof because the client upgraded those or installed those himself. I didn't touch those, so that's why I didn't cover them in this video. But what I did install was that Victron Multiplus-II. It's a 12 volt, 3000 VA, 2400 watt inverter charger. We have the Victron solar charge controller. We have the Victron Lynx DC distribution system. We've got battery disconnects. We've got solar disconnects. We have the Victron Servo GX for remote monitoring. And the nice thing about that is it not only provides remote monitoring for my client, but it also allows me to now support my client down the road. If he were to have questions, were to have issues, or needing help to update the system, I can also now support him as he's traveling down the road. So I design the systems, I build the systems, but I also support the systems after the fact. Once the client leaves, he's still a client, always going to be a client. And then lastly as well, we have that nice auto gen start that pairs nicely with the Victron system and your onboard generator. It works well, it's simple to use, it's been very reliable. All the clients that I've installed it on, as well as everybody that has bought a unit from me, just loves it. It's easy to use. So if you're looking to buy one for yourself, you can go to my website, faithfuljourneysolar.com. And so lastly, if you have a similar RV or any RV and you're looking to get solar installed on it, my contact details will be down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day.